Reb Nosson continues later on in the teaching, and he explains that one of the reasons that Bittul, that consciousness of nullifying ourselves to the futuristic reality of Olam Haba, when our eyes close and we squint absolutely and are thereby able to connect to the furthest tachlis, that furthest place of the ultimate eventuality of Yamahu Hashem Echad Shmai Echad. So he says one of the challenges of holding on to that Bittul, even after we've washed our hands with the waters of the Torah and we've steadied ourselves in that aspect of Halacha, is that we don't really find the way to bring that reality down into our lived experience. We don't find the capacity to create kalim, to make vessels for this light. And so in a certain sense, it's just a glimmer, and we catch it for a moment, and then we come back into this world, and it doesn't stay with us. And so the main thing, Reb Nosson says, you have to learn how to make kalim. We have to be making kalim. We have to make vessels so that we can bring this light down in such a way where it can stay with us. Otherwise, we're just going to forget about it. And we might have great moments where we feel super connected, but if we're not able to integrate and we're not able to bring it down into a state of really making sure that we process those experiences and we integrate them into our lives, and they literally become a part and parcel of the way that we view the world, so then ultimately, they're just transcendent experiences, flashes of faith, however they're accessed, whatever it is, but a person's connecting to a deeper level of reality, but it doesn't stay, because we didn't make any vessel. And if we don't make a vessel, Reb Nosson says, then you forget it very quickly. And we just fall out of touch with it, and life just carries on, like just as it was. And so Reb Nosson says, very, very important, that's the connection between waking up, washing the tilas yadayim, and then putting on tzitzis. Reb Nosson says that what tzitzis symbolizes for the men, but the women could also learn the halachas at least, or at most, because that's for them, that's their mitzvah and their connection to it. But it's the same, for men and women on a symbolic level, is that tzitzis represent the vessels that we want to make for this great light that we experience when we're sleeping, of the super conscious bittul, nullification, to that deeper and broader and truer reality that's deep, deep, deep in the future, which is the revelation of Hashem's master plan. Because tzitzis are levush, tzitzis is a garment, and the garment means that it's able to filter the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that's so deep, that's completely beyond our human capacity to grasp. But when we come back from that state of bittul and that deep meditation or that deep transcendent experience of faith, and we come back into this world, that light is too big. It's overwhelming. And we need to be able to filter it down on a lived experience where I can be me with my own current experience and connection to reality that I currently have. But at the same time, I'm able to connect to that deeper perspective. We're really in Odom Avado. But in order to do that, says Reb Nosson, we need a vessel. And the vessel, he says, tzitzis is a levush, is a garment. It serves as a filter. It allows that light to filter down into our lives in a way that we can handle it. And so the tzaddik says this is the whole thing of tzitzis. That's what tzitzis are. Tzitzis are all about re'iyah, like we said before, that we want to see that world of Olam Haba. So we close our eyes completely, and then we're disconnected from the chezedai alma, like we said, from the illusion of this worldliness, and we connect to the real reality, to that realm of Olam Haba, to that realm of faith, to that deeper level of existence where the truth is that everything is love, that everything is HaKadosh Baruch Hu's chesed, is kindness, everything is HaKadosh Baruch Hu running the world exactly as it needs and was always ever going to be run, bringing it to the place where it needs to go. And that's the aspect of the Re'isem Oisai Zachartem, that we should look at the tzitzis. And Chazal tell us that the tzitzis is connected to Tcheles, and the tzitzis Doimel Yam Doimel Rekia, Rekia is Doimel Kisi HaKavod. The tzitzis brings us to that place of Kisi HaKavod. Kisi HaKavod is Ein Sof. That means that I'm disconnecting from this worldliness and I'm connecting to the infinite. Kisei HaKavod is the olam, without getting into the Kabbalistic depth, but just for a minute, is the world of Bria, is the olam of Bina or Bria, both of which are associated in the Sifrei Kabbalah, Sifrei Hasidus with olam haba. So tzitzis, when I look at the tzitzis, that's an aspect of bittul. That's the aspect of the way in which I'm able to connect to the hasaga, to the perception of bittul within vessels in a way that I connected to it absolutely at nighttime, when a person was totally in a state of bittul and sleeping with their eyes completely closed. Now, when I look at the tzitzis, it's flickering within me. It's inspiring and awakening within me a little bit of the connection to the deeper way of looking at reality. And now I have my eyes open. I don't have my eyes closed, but the eyes open are looking upon some kind of garment, some kind of vessel, and a vehicle that's able through the tcheles dom al yam, looks like the ocean, yam dom l'rakia, brings me to the heaven, and the rakia brings me to olam haba, and that allows that experience of olam haba to linger. Says Reb Nosson, well, if you don't have garments, you're going to forget that experience, right? Because we said if you don't have kalim, so it can't settle into anything, it cannot be integrated. But when a person is able to connect to the tzitzis, which is this vessel, this garment, this different way of looking at the world, so then, of course, the pasuk finishes, Uri'isem oisai, uzechartem. Uzechartem. Then I can ensure that I live in a state of remembrance. Uzechartem is called mitzvahs Hashem. Then a person will remember the mitzvahs. And mitzvah, we know, is a lashon of connection. Tzavsa, right, to connect. And when a person is connected in that way, then they're going to be able to bring the residual light of the total transcendent experience of nullification, whether again through meditation, through other practices, techniques, that a person is able to get out of their own ego, the person is able to get out of their own subjective individuality, and we want that to linger when we return. It says Reb Nosson, you got to make vessels, and one of the strong vessels is tzitzis. Tzitzis, the garment, filters the light. Tzitzis in and of themselves that enable me to hold on to that histaklos, to that glimpse into that other realm of olam haba, through tcheles dom yam, like we said, yam dom l'rakia, rakia dom l'kisya covered, and that ultimately, this is going to enable that we should carry on into our regular, normal, functioning, egoistic experience, which HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants that we should have, and function out of that individual perspective of subjectivity, that Hashem should help, that we should then be able to bring that light down so that I don't forget it, but rather Re'isam Aisai and Uzachartem. I should be able to hold on to the remembrance of that, and that experience of the Bittul, of the Laila, which then I protected and reinforced with the Netilas Yadayim Shachars, is then able to stay with me through my experience of tzitzis.
Ani habe ואתה האב שלי שכל כך אוהב אותי האב שלי מלך חי וקיים על כל נשימה שאני